They ain't gotta believe in you. As long as you believe in yourself. Never let how they feel about you change how you feel about yourself. Make the world respect your greatness. 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 Make the world respect your greatness.
I just took everything as it came, day by day, and when I turned 21, in my 21st speech, I actually told his father, and I was like, thank you for raising the man of my dreams, and I'm definitely going to get married to him one day. It was about 3 years ago, the very first time that I was diagnosed with major depression. And it was, so I'm not really a communicator. I do speak, but I'm not very open. And I just decided that I need to speak to somebody. I remember it was almost like I was doing like a checklist, like things that was not sitting right with me. And I remember that day I said, look, I'm going to go see the psychiatrist, and will you please drop me? And his words to me were that, why do you need to pay somebody to listen to you when you can just speak to me? Because what they're going to tell you, I can tell you. He would always turn it into a negative. Why can't you speak to me? Why are you speaking to other people? It's our relationship. But that fear always took over. Because I would literally be that person. I'd be at home and say we're arguing and I have to see him. I'd have to first speak to myself. What am I going to say? Okay, I can't say this, because if I say this, then it's going to end up in a major argument and he's not going to like this. And I can't say that I spoke to this certain person, because there were certain people I wasn't allowed to see, wasn't allowed to hang out with. So, yeah, I confided in other people. 3 weeks prior to that, when I hit rock bottom, was the night that he had messaged me saying, you may think what you want, you may assume stuff, but I thought I'd just let you know that I started seeing somebody. And my first question to him was, who is it? He's like, what's it going to change? And I said, it might just help me move on. And I was in my pajamas ready. I got my mother's keys and I drove to his house, and I phoned him and I said, come outside now. And I insisted that he tell me who it is. And when he mentioned this girl's name, that night I literally thought I was gonna die, because this girl she was I won't say in our circle of friends, but she was a friend for a good couple of years. And I always just had this gut feeling about this girl. And so many people told him, she wants to be with you. When he mentioned her name, all I could say to him was, why? Because a few weeks prior to that, he was talking about her, and he was just like, don't leave me, I need you so badly. Like, you are everything and the only thing that I have. If it's going to save our relationship, I'll start going to church with you. I'll get a job for you. All these things. And I just thought to myself, I told him, I said, I don't want you to do these things for me. I want you to do it for yourself. Because now we get married, 10 years down the line, you tell me, oh, I'm unhappy in my job and it's your fault because you forced me to go work. I'm unhappy going to church with you because you forced me. It's what you wanted. That's not what I want. I don't want anybody to conform to what I want. And yeah, he was doing all of those. That just really hurt me, because we were together for 9 years. Would have gotten married now in December. Not even broken up for a full 5 months. And everything that you told me you are doing now, things that you didn't want me to do. And all you could tell me all the time was, but you left me 3 times, you did this, you did that. And I said, and I've apologized for that. I'm not saying that I was never wrong in anything, but that just broke me. It was actually something that was on my mind for some time, but I never got to that point where I said, okay, the 15th of August, 7:30, I'm going to take so many pills. It wasn't like that. It was on my mind, but for months before that, I wasn't eating, I wasn't speaking. I resigned from 2 jobs in a space of 2 months. And I wasn't spending time with my parents, and I was just laying in my room, and I just decided, I said, I can't hold on anymore. I had my last supper with my parents. I actually sat by them watching Seven the Lion, and I just said, in my mind, I said, this is it. Like, I literally had no will to live anymore. I had no more strength. There was nothing for me to hold on, because somebody who I made my whole world, I lived for him, I breathed for him, everything was no more there, and he had hurt me so badly that I just felt I don't belong here. I didn't feel worthy, didn't feel like I was enough. And I got up and I went to the bathroom. I got a big bottle of water, and I looked in the mirror and I just said, I'm sorry. And I said, my God, I am sorry. And even at that point, I was just hoping that I'd find a bit of strength to just carry on, but there was absolutely nothing. And I started taking the tablets one by one. And being as OCD as I am, I counted all the tablets. And I started taking them one by one, and with each tablet, I was just crying. The tears was just coming more and more, but I had to keep it in because I didn't want my parents to hear. And eventually I just started taking handfuls, like 20 at a time. And before that, about 10 minutes before that, I wrote a note to my parents, and I put all the boxes in a container, in a brown paper bag. I messaged his best friend saying, please look after him, and like remind him every day that I'll always love him and I'll always care for him. And I messaged him too. And I was laying here and my phone was vibrating. Eventually I just put my phone off. And I fell asleep, but the pain just got so intense that I thought, no, I can't. And I got up, and when I regained conscious, I was on the bed with my dad. He was shaking me, shouting. From what I remember, it was like I was in and out of conscious, and I just remember him saying, please don't do this to me. You are my only child. You are my life. Without you, I am nothing. And luckily, one of my friends just thought further than the message, and she was here within 5 minutes. And she said, we need to take you to the hospital. We're not waiting for an ambulance. And they took me to the hospital, and the rest is a blur. What I remember laying on the bed was, I prayed and I just had this calmness over me. And the nurses were like, do you know what happened? And I said, I couldn't speak at the time, but I could reply. And I said, yes, I do. And she said, why are you smiling? They just could not understand why I'm smiling and why I'm being so strong. And I feel that God really answered my prayer that night. He saved me, and that's all that I tell everybody. He saved me that night, because things could have turned out so different.